Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light.
Now you're more fluent.
Mackinac, he's got three!
Up, Bears. So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of We Got Next. I'm Rickey Hampton with former Milwaukee Bucks center Paul Mokeski, coming to you on a Monday evening. Hope everybody's having a great start to the week. Mo, as always, good to see you, my brother. We got a little basketball going on, man, as we head countdown to the start of the Olympics. And we want to welcome all our friends out there tuning in on Sports Fluent. Please send us your questions and comments, and we'll get to them. Big Mo has a wealth of knowledge. He has a chance. He has a chance to talk to a guy that knows his stuff. I just call him like I see him, Mo.
I know some stuff.
As Robert De Niro, a little something there, a little something.
I know a lot because I've seen a lot.
Absolutely. But how you doing, Mo?
I'm good. It's actually it rained in Las Vegas yesterday, which it hasn't rained in 2 months. I don't think. It was crazy. So it's cooled off a little bit. The summer league is in full swing now, and all these combines for tryouts for European teams and all kinds of things. Every gym in Las Vegas is full. That's for sure. And then AAU comes in next week, so it's a crazy time in Vegas for basketball for sure.
And Mo, I got my NBA TV on right now, and we'll get more into some summer league stuff. And I know it's not the most exciting time for you, but as fans, what can we kind of take out of this? If my first round draft pick goes for 20 points,
doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It means something. But most of these guys playing in the summer league are not going to be on rosters. This year they're not going to be on NBA rosters, and the ones that are probably won't be playing a lot. But at the same time, you're playing in front of. In that big gym, when the Lakers play or something like that, you're playing in front of 10,000 people, So, when you're getting refed by NBA referees or potential young referees and, you're playing high-level quality competition. There's, people evaluating every player from all over the world. You don't get too excited if your guy, your first or second round pick is playing great, but you get a little excited about it, but at the same time, you don't get all upset and depressed that your guy's not performing like he thought they could perform, because it's their first taste of this type of professional basketball. So it's you got to take it with a grain of salt, but there is evaluating going on. You can tell if your draft pick has NBA 3-point range or just college 3-point range because he only played in college. Or, can he handle the ball against, big level pressure on defense, stuff like that.
Hey Mo, all eyes here. Last year it was a big buzz because we had Wimbiana here. Not so much this year, but one of the most interesting prospects, of course, has been Bronny James, who's, he struggled during his college career, his 1 year at USC. And he seems to be struggling now. What does this mean for him?
That means he needs work. That means he needs to play basketball at a higher level. That means he needs to develop his game. That means he needs to play in the G League. That's what that means. He averaged 4 or 5 points a game at USC. Guess what he's averaging in the summer league? 4 points, of course. It's not just because he's now an NBA draftee doesn't make him any much better. But, there's a lot of guys that struggle. you're looking at the top two picks for Atlanta, Risacher, and for Washington, Alexander Sarr. They're struggling also. They're averaging 10 and 11 points. Those are the first. That's the 1 and 2 picks in the draft. That's what they're averaging. So, he needs another year or two to see if he's a player at the next level. And, he's going to take, someone to have some patience with them and develop them, and we'll see what happens. But, it's not, he's not going to play in the NBA this year. I mean, he needs to play. I hope he realizes he needs to play like a whole year. Just forget the NBA. Stop it. Just go play for the Lakers franchise in the G League, which is, by the way, in your practice facility. You can live, next to your dad or whatever. It's no big deal. All the coaches are going to watch you practice. So just do that for a year. Don't think NBA. Think about becoming a better player. And then, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I'm totally with you.
It's interesting that, Mike, you're right. Reed Shepherd is playing really well. He's what is the dimmest light bulb in the sign?
Yeah, he did not play well today against the Pistons.
Well, he had 30 points the other day, so take what they were doing you want. I mean, he's showing he has range. He's showing he has quickness and athleticism. He's showing. He's got potential for sure. So, I guess, Mike, most of the guys playing in this summer league aren't that smart. So don't worry about it.
Hey, and Mo, and as you said, for every rookie, it's going to be like this, up and down. We're watching it over in the WNBA with Caitlin Clark. She's had some really, really good games, and she's had some where she turned it over left and right, and now she's beginning to kind of figure things out a little bit.
You have to figure it out. I mean, the first few weeks of the season, she was throwing passes that were good passes in college. They don't work in the pros. Sorry. Right. So you're averaging 9 turnovers a game. That's why, because you're trying to make passes you can't make at the next level, and she's learning that. She's also learning how hard it is to travel in a professional league. I mean, she had a terrible game here in Las Vegas, horrible, and she looked tired. She struggled because it was the 5th game of a road trip. In college, you don't have no 5th game of a road trip. You have 2 maybe. So it's a whole process at any level and making the step up. I mean, if when we're talking the summer league, you're looking at Dalton Connect, who the Lakers picked with the 17th pick, I think. He's averaging 25 points a game. He's 23 years old. Yeah. Bronny and those dudes, they're all 19, 20 years old, not 23. But, it's a great pickup for the Lakers. He showed that he can come in and play a role for them on an NBA roster next year. Because he's smart, he's strong, he's physical, he can shoot the ball, he can get to the basket. He can play the game. So, that's a good plus for the Lakers. And Matthias Bazilis, who the Bulls drafted, he's the guy from the Ignite, the 6'8" point forward guy. He's averaging 22 points and about 7 rebounds. He's playing well. So, people like that are, fitting in, but they're bound to probably have a bad game here. And that's why a lot of people, like these guys have played 2 games, these teams will shut them down. They won't play any more games.
Yeah.
So, you're done. And a lot of these, most of these teams have 15 players on them. But they don't play. So for a designated game, you're going to pick 5 of those guys. You're not playing this game. And then you'll rotate another 5 in for the next game, but you can't play all these guys. So, that's going to be up and down too.
You know what? You're exactly right, Mo. That's what the Pistons did with their first-round draft pick, Ron Holland. He had a nice game in his first game the other night. They shut him down. It's like, hey, that's it.
Yep.
He didn't play today. So
yeah. I mean, David Woods, who's a friend of mine who played in the NBA back in the day, His son's playing for Atlanta. Moses Woods, he played for Washington last year. He's a 6'7" shooter. And the first game of the summer league, he didn't play 1 minute. Then they told him. But then he played last night. He didn't have a great game, but he played 25 minutes. So that's just what the summer league is about.
Yeah. Hey, but we had some big time basketball today. Team USA took the floor and beat Australia 98-92. They had a big lead at one point, Mo, and they were up actually 24 points, but Australia was able to cut into it, and Halliburton hit a couple of threes late to kind of put the game away. Your thoughts on Team USA and their victory today, and what you're looking for going forward?
Well, these are all called friendly games. That's what they're called. They're called friendly games. So what they are is practice games. And a lot of these games, like they're going to play a friendly game against Serbia, and they're going to play them in their pool. A lot of teams don't even play some of their starters. They're just going to show you a little bit because you're going to have to play them down the road. So, you can't read a lot into it. Like, I watched most of that game. I taped it, so I watched it. I just finished watching it. Steve played almost all his players, some minutes, and that causes problems because you only had 4 days of practice or 5, and now you're throwing in different rotations, and that causes problems. But they look good for 2.5 quarters, got up by 24, and then fell asleep. They had. I counted it. They had 9 turnovers in the last 7 minutes of the third quarter. 9 turnovers. They had 18 turnovers for the game. 18. They had 9 of them in 7 minutes. So that's how, especially in international play, a team can catch. You turn the ball over and the guy goes down and knocks down the 3. Do that 3 or 4 times, and now that 24-point lead is 10 or 9, and now you got a game. And it happens all the time. So don't be freaking out when teams make runs. Especially like USA got sloppy, and they turned the ball over. And Australia's a good basketball team. They have NBA players there, and they used those turnovers and created a run. I think it was a 14-2 run in the third, and then they made another run in the fourth. So that's going to happen. And you know what? It's kind of encouraging that USA, fought through it. I watched them play. They're all bought in. They're all playing hard. They're playing defense. They're really playing defense. They just got to not get sloppy with their passes and not turn the ball over. And, they'll be fine. It was, they beat a good team, Team Canada here. Australia's a good team. They beat them. I think they're playing Serbia coming up in the next friendly game.
On Wednesday.
Yeah, so that's going to be a real test. But I guarantee you they beat Serbia by 20 or 25 because Serbia will not show them their real plays and their real watch because they're playing Serbia in the first game of their pool play. I know international coaches, and that's what they do in friendly games. They might not even play the Joker. So, I think it's a feel-out time for Team USA. They have all the tools. And I think Embiid ended up with 14 points, but he kind of struggled finishing around the basket. They were physical with him. Anthony Davis played great. He had 17 points and 14 rebounds in 18 minutes. That's pretty darn good. He looked really, really good. Anthony Edwards looked good. LeBron looked like LeBron. Tatum looked good. Bam Adebayo solid. And Australia, it's interesting. Jock Loundale, who's their 6'11" guy, that he had 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. He plays for Houston. He averages 5 points a game in the NBA, but he's one of those hustle guys. He's like Harkington that was with the Knicks. He runs, he gets offensive tip-ins. He dives on the floor, and he was hustling the whole game. So, Team USA, as long as they keep on the same path, if they'll focus on defense like they have been and stop turning the ball over, they'll be fine. I mean, it's not a cakewalk anymore. The Olympics aren't a cakewalk anymore. And guess what? 4 years from now, If you're going to see, they're going to battle. They're going to have to battle to get a medal, I think.
Wow. Hey Mo, is Anthony Davis better at the 4 spot or the 5 spot? Or does that depend on who's on the floor with him?
I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. Numbers don't matter. 4 or 5 is interchangeable. It doesn't matter. The only difference is who you have to guard. I mean, you're going to play the same way. So, I like him at the 4. I mean, Embiid at the 5. And the reason I like that is because he's guarding a smaller player, and a smaller player is guarding him usually. So that's a big difference.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm looking at the box score. They started today. Starting lineup was Jason Tatum, LeBron James, Joel Embiid, Anthony Edwards, and Steph Curry.
Yeah, Curry struggled. Curry was 1 for 7, I think.
Kevin Durant did not play.
No, he probably won't play for a couple more games.
Is that the starting lineup? I mean, because if you do that, you have Durant, Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday. I mean, just loads of guys coming off the bench.
Another guy looked good, Booker.
Right.
Booker had 16. He had 16 points. Yeah. So, I mean, look at the roster. You can go whatever way you want. I mean, and the key is, to get the guys to buy in and not be all concerned about who's starting, who's not starting, all that BS. Just try to win. And whenever you're on the floor, you play like you need to be on the floor. That was a big question mark of why they got, to replace
Derek White.
Yeah, they've got Derek White.
Yeah,
they got him. Everybody's, why didn't you get Jaylen Brown? Why didn't you get Jaylen Brown? Well, let's see. You just named Edwards and Tatum and Booker and Curry and Holiday. Aren't they like almost the same guy? So, and I think Team USA described it the way they should describe it. We're not here to get like when I coach, I told players in training camp, I don't need the 10 best players. I need the 10 players that make up the best team. So guess what? I'm going to cut guys that are better than the guys I'm keeping. And even though it'll blow your mind, it's because I think we build a better team. So I don't need 8 shooters.
Wow.
I don't need eight bigs that can run the floor, but that's the truth. I mean, players need to understand that. They need to understand that. Coaches aren't looking for the best players. They're looking for the best players that make up the best team. You got to win, right? So, they added a guy that's his role, right, with the Celtics. His role is to fit in and knock down a 3, and he's also, by the way, second team all defensive team, right? So, you're adding a piece that maybe you don't have. I mean, Jaylen Brown's hell of a player. Don't get me wrong. Does he deserve to be on the team? Sure, of course he does. I mean, he's one of the best players in the league for sure. But at this point, even if I'm Steve Kerr, I got Steph Curry and Edwards and Tatum and Booker and Holiday. Well, where do I fit Jaylen Brown in?
Yeah.
Where do I get him in the game? And how is it different than those guys? Where the other kid is. Derek is, he's a 6'7", 6'8" kind of wing that shoots and plays defense and can rebound and is a hustle guy. And guess what? He's not going to play very much. So Jaylen Brown, are you happy not playing very much? Are you happy playing, 8-10 minutes a game? Are you happy? No.
This reminds me of when Team USA took Tayshaun Prince from the Pistons. Just a good, solid player, and is going to go about his business and won't be pissed off if he only plays 10 minutes a game. And if you put him in there, he knows what he's doing.
People don't understand that it's more than just talent. the talent has to fit together, and you have to have different options at different positions and different talent. I mean, you're looking at your whiteboard in the locker room, and you got all these guys, the best talent. Guess what, guys? Only 8 or 9 of you are going to play. The other 3 are just they're not going to play.
And they're going to be pissed.
Yeah, so if you're going to be pissed, you don't want to be here. You're sacrificing your summer. Like Derek Williams, he was getting ready to go on vacation to the Bahamas or somewhere.
Derek White, yeah.
Derek White. And he said, okay, I want to join the team. It's an honor for me.
Yeah.
If I'm Jaylen Brown, listen, if I'm Jaylen Brown and you call me last minute and say, hey, Kawhi's not here anymore, you want to join us in Dubai? I think I'm on a cruise to the Bahamas, and I got my own yacht, so I think I'll pass on that because I don't want to come to Dubai and then go fly to Paris and play 5 minutes a game. Sorry, I'm honored, but maybe next time.
Hey, speaking of Kawhi Leonard, he left the team, and now the Clippers, when he was pulled from the team, everybody was thinking, well, the Clippers just want to protect him, make sure he's okay headed into the next season. But Clippers president Frank said that, no, we're disappointed that he's not with the team.
There's something else there.
Lawrence Frank, yeah.
Yeah, look, I knew it from the beginning. Listen, and that's not, they didn't pull him from the team. The announcement was, by mutual agreement, we have come to a mutual agreement that Kawhi was going to not be with the team to get ready for the season for next year. That's what was said.
Right.
Well, obviously, now Lawrence Frank has come out and said, no, that's not what the thing was. We wanted him to play. So now you got to think there was something else going on, because I saw him practice, and he wasn't limping. He looked in good shape. I mean, he didn't look overpowering or anything, but hey, what we just talked about, Ricky, maybe he said some stuff in the locker room. Maybe he said some stuff to some coaches or other players that didn't rub people the right way, because guess what, Kawhi? You're probably not going to play much either. So if you're not happy now, you're not going to be happy in Paris. So let's decide now. But I found it really interesting because it brought up questions, and I think Lawrence Frank is trying to deflect questions, because now they're questioning, did he have another procedure on his knee after the season? Does he need more work on his knee? Is he healthy? And the Clippers didn't like that. So, no one will know. Only the Clippers and only USA Basketball knows what really happened. And we won't know. You'll have two sides to that thing.
Mo, what is Kawhi's legacy becoming?
Well,
if he even cares about that.
He doesn't care about it because even when he was one of the best players in the league and winning championships, remember, he won a championship with the Spurs. Then he left the Spurs and won a championship with Toronto. So guess what your legacy is now, Ricky? You're a rentable player. That's what you are. You're rentable. And then he went to the Clippers because he thought they had a chance of winning, right? Toronto wasn't going to. He went to the Clippers. So you're a rentable player. You're a great player, and you've won championships, but you bounced around so much, you're a rentable player now. So, that's, you're making $50 million a year or whatever. Who cares? I mean, I don't think he cares what his legacy is, but I don't know that. That's kind of what I'm reading into it. But he's been so hurt over the last 4 years, hamstring, knee, back, and once those things start piling up, it's hard to stop, injuries from happening. Your knee, you're favoring your knee and your back gives out, or you're favoring your back and your ankle. All those things compile. And, the thing that I didn't like about it a lot of times, like with the Clippers, when he was hurt, instead of being on the bench, he was up in a booth in the box, sitting up there chilling. Right. I don't think that's right.
And Paul, that's what I thought. Maybe Team USA was thinking, man, we don't know if this guy's going to be ready or not. I know he looked good the first 2 days, but after that third day, I don't know. And just like you said, we'll never know, Steve. Did his knee blow up? We'll never know. But with Kawhi Leonard, it's something you always got to ask about.
Yeah, but I don't think that was apparent that his knee blew up. I just wasn't working, I don't think. And guess what? He doesn't communicate, right? He didn't communicate with Pop and the Spurs. Didn't communicate with. He's not a communicator. He's doing his own thing. So I think Team USA was like, wait a minute, guess what? We have a pretty damn good team right now without Kawhi. I mean, that's the other thing. Like when I coach, I want the 10 players to make up the best team, not the 10 best players. And I don't want any guys, especially that are going to be my 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th guy, that are causing me problems. I don't need that. I can put up, if Rickey, you're averaging 25 points and getting 10 rebounds for me, and you're kind of a jerk, I can put up with that. Right? I'll figure out a way to get around that. But if you're not playing and you're my 10th guy, Rickey, I'm sending your ass home, buddy. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not saying I don't know that. I didn't see it at practice. I don't know that, but that's kind of the feeling I get,
Mo, you were a former player in the league, and you've seen all this money that's being paid out. You guys eventually started making good money in your career. Your thoughts about the guys today?
I think they should make as much money as they can. To me, I don't care. I mean, you know what? Charles Barkley doesn't care either. I mean, Charles is always saying something to try and get in there or whatever. But I guess what, Charles? I guarantee you, like, record this. If they would pay you 50 or 60 million a year, you would take that too in a second. You wouldn't ask about anything. You would say, "Hey, I'm taking the money, man. I don't care what you say." So I don't blame them for that. Some of the actions, players that aren't worth money are getting paid too much. Okay, that's always been the case. It happened way back in the 80s, but that's just the facts. And you're usually worth what you get paid. If you don't think you're getting paid enough, then go somewhere else, try and get paid more. But the money is not the situation. The situation is kind of, in my opinion, it's the way that the product is being presented a lot now. Where, me, I have a pet peeve. I mean, you shouldn't be on an NBA bench wearing flip-flops, shorts, and a hat. And some guys wear sunglasses. That's a joke to me. That's an embarrassing joke as a 12-year NBA player to have players on the bench wearing shorts, T-shirts, and damn hats. You're wearing hats on the bench. I mean, when I played, you had to wear slacks and a blazer. You didn't have to wear a tie, but you had to wear a coat. I don't think they have to do that anymore. But damn it, wear something decent, not shorts, T-shirt, and a damn hat. I mean, this isn't AAU. This is the NBA. This is the highest league in the world. I mean, I think stuff like that needs to be cleaned up. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And Mo, I remember when John Concat got a contract from Atlanta. And it may have been a couple of million. Everyone's going, "Oh my goodness, why are they paying him?" Hey, he didn't rob anybody. They gave him the money.
You know what? Who offered him that money first, Rickey?
Who?
The Pistons. Yes, the Pistons signed him to that, and they made Atlanta match it, and caused all kinds of problems. Because guess what? Dominique Wilkins was making half as much as John Concat for a couple of years because of that. And
that will be a problem.
That's the problem. And then so it has to be caught up. The other thing I had a problem with was some players like Karl Malone, great players making money they deserve, but he tried to renegotiate his contract every second year because he was mad that other guys were making more money. Then if that was the case, you should have done what Patrick Ewing did. he and his agent were smart. So when Patrick Ewing extended his contract with the New York Knicks, the deal was he at every time and every season he played, he had to be one of the top 5 players in the league. And if he wasn't, they had to match whatever the 5th player was making. So he was never below paid what the 5th highest guy was paid. And it was in
You
his
know
contract.
what? He's a guy we've rarely talked about on this show. What was it like playing against Patrick? Mo?
Well, Patrick's, tough, physical, defensive shot blocker, had that hook to the middle. Then he became like a nice 15, 16 foot jump shooter. Very, very competitive, but just a true competitor. He just, he played hard all the time. He was one of the guys, he played hard. When you went up against him, he was playing hard all the time, just like Moses Malone and some other guys. So that was Patrick. I mean, he just played extremely hard.
That's the best compliment you can get from a former player.
Yeah, I mean, it's the respect. You got to respect guys like that. I mean, for sure.
Absolutely.
As long as we're having the Coach Mo rant, let's go a little bit farther. And the other thing that's bothering me about the NBA, just like in college, the transfer portal is ruining college basketball. It's ruining college basketball. That, along with NIL, is ruining college basketball, where as a college player, you can just leave your school anytime you want and go to another school and play the next year. Now, I understand there should be a rule that if your coach leaves, you should be able to leave. But you shouldn't be able to play for 4 schools in 4 years and not have to have any kind of punishment. That's a joke. And then the NIL money is getting out of hand. But, moving around is like, you look at someone's background, they went to 3 high schools and 4 colleges. That used to be a red flag when I played. Why are you moving around so much?
Right. It was back in the day. Yeah.
Everybody does it now. And now even in the NBA, guys demanding trades. Harden demands a trade. Simmons demands a trade. I demand to be traded. You're making $30 million a year. You sign that contract. Just play. Don't stop demanding. I'm not coming to camp. I'm demanding to be traded. That's terrible. It's not good for anybody.
And speaking of college basketball, since we were on the air, and you said he was going to get his money, Mo, Dan Hurley signed a 6-year, $50 million contract with Connecticut.
Yeah, but that was not a negotiation ploy. Yeah, the talking to the Lakers was no, it wasn't a negotiation ploy. No, that's not what happened. So he got his money. That's good. And people understand. Well, he left $20 million on the table. No, he didn't. First of all, the higher up, the more money you make, the more taxes you pay. Second of all, you're living in Connecticut and you're not living in LA. So how much do you think it costs to live in LA? So he wasn't giving up $20 million. He got what he wanted. So, and he has far less headaches at UConn than he does with the Lakers. Believe me that.
Yeah. That Lakers job got to be one of the hardest in the NBA because of the scrutiny that comes with it.
Well, New York Knicks, Boston Celtics, Lakers, but anybody's scrutinized though. But it's how you deal with it. It's going to be really interesting, to see what happens in 2 years from now when LeBron's done and Bronny's gone. Because in my opinion, he's not going to be. He won't be a rotation player in the NBA, I don't think. So both of them will be gone. Now what do you do? Do you start over? Obviously you do. Now, you're going to clear all that money off your salary cap because, between LeBron and AD and D'Angelo Russell, you're at the salary. You're over $100 million for those guys. Easy. You're like 120 million.
Steve just brought up another great name, Tree Rollins, getting his finger bit by Danny Ainge. The pride of the Clemson Tigers, Tree Rollins.
Tree was another guy, shot blocker, big body. Accept his role. He's going to shoot a little hook shot now and then, but you know, you look at that roster with Tree Rollins and Kevin Willis and Dominique Wilkins and Doc Rivers and a couple other guys.
They had the two guard battle.
Yep, they're a really good team. We fought them in the playoffs too. I mean, it was like in our division, it was in the East, it was Boston, Philly, us, and then you know, Atlanta, maybe Detroit, maybe Chicago, back and forth. But you know, you think that the East is strong now? You should have been in it back then.
Yeah, for sure on that. Let's see what we got here. Speaking of the Knicks, how about Jalen Brunson, Mo? $156 million extension over the next 4 years.
I mean, that's what he's worth, right? So, you know, the Knicks are solidifying their team. You know, they added some players. The only loss that they have was Harkenstein, who I think was a bigger loss than you think. But other than that, and then you have Julius Randle, who didn't even play because he's hurt. He's coming back, and he's I mean, 2 years ago, we were talking about him early in the season as being an MVP of the league. So he's coming back to that roster. So they're gearing up and solidifying players to build around, you know, for the next 3 or 4 years to be able to compete with Boston. And then, you know, you see what Philly is doing, and then Milwaukee is in that mix too. So, you know.
Hey, Mo, what is it that makes Brunson such a good player? I mean, he's not running past anybody. He's not jumping over anybody. I think he's maybe 6'1". 6'2" was what they list him as 6'2".
Yeah, but he's got like Charles Barkley loves him, right? He's got that big build. He can get to the paint whenever he wants. He's got great touch on his floater. He can knock down threes. He's tough as nails, you know, and he's a leader. Players follow him. And, you know, he's setting the pace for that whole team. And, you know, he's a guy that, you know, he can score 50 for you, but he can also score 20 and get you 12, 14 assists. So, you know, and his leadership qualities. So, you know, he's a point guard that if you're a coach in the NBA, please give me one of him. You know, that's a good start for any roster.
Yeah. But you're right, man. They are going to miss Hartenstein. And I think that's a perfect fit for OKC with the physicality he's going to bring that team and the toughness.
Well, it moves. We were talking about AD at the 4 or 5. Well, it moves Holmgren over to the 4. Now he's a 7'4", but you know he weighs 220, 210. You know, so Hartenstein could be the bruiser, big guy that guards the jokers and the Embiids and guys like that, where Holmgren can, you know, roam around more as a 4 and block. He's a good shot blocker. He's going to block more shots at the 4 position because he's going to be able to leave his man more. He's not going to be pushed around as much. That's a great pickup by OKC, along with the kid from Chicago they picked up, the veteran.
Caruso.
Yeah, so that's, you know.
Are they your favorites right now? I know it's early.
No, I think Dallas. They picked. Guess what they did? Last year they picked up bigs that can run the floor and dunk. Now they picked up a 3-point shooter in Klay Thompson that can knock down threes. Hello. I mean, you know, they're adding. See, these moves make sense. You're adding, but OKC added 2 veterans in 2 positions they needed, and they let go of Giddey, who played good against USA today, by the way. But you know, he became expendable, and now OKC's, instead of being the young team with 800 million first-round picks, now they're actually a team that compete in the West, and that's where you need to get, and that's going to keep your fans. But you know, I mean, Dallas, OKC, Minnesota, don't write off the Lakers, Denver. I mean, you know, there's a lot of potential out there.
Yeah. And the happiest guy out there today may be Jamal Murray, because he's got an extension coming up after seeing Brunson get his. The report is he could get up to $208 million. that's $50 million a year.
Who
That's
cares?
damn near $1 million a game. I know.
I mean, who cares? I mean, that I've already made. He's made. What has he made? He's made $100 million in his year in his career, right?
Yeah.
So how much money do you need? He's made $100 million, Ricky. That means that if you're not an idiot, you got probably $20 million in the bank just sitting there. You know, and you've bought houses and cars and whatever you want. You still got $20 million in the bank the rest of your life. So how much money do you need?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, if I'm those guys and I have $100 million, I've made $100 million, $150 million, whatever. I don't care. You know what? I don't need $50 million a year. Give me a mere 20, and let's get some more better players in here. And let's win a ring. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Hey, and Steve mentions Houston. I do think they'll be better, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to make a big jump. Just because the West is so good.
Yeah, they're a 500 team that made a nice run at the end of the year last year, and they got some good parts. You know, so their step is to win a first round playoff series. That's what their goal should be.
The most interesting team in the West to me, Mo, is Memphis. They're going to have Ja Morant back. Last year they won 27 games. Yeah, well, yeah. They won 27 games without him. Is he worth 15 games? 15 more games?
Oh, probably. I mean, but they also played without their center, right?
Yeah, they get him back. Clark, I believe.
No. The big guy.
That tore his ACL, right? Oh, yeah. Yep. Gosh.
No, we're back.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. Aquaman.
Yeah.
Oh, they traded him though. They traded him.
Right. He's gone. Yeah. But they got another big coming back off of ACL also.
But my point is, like your point is, they won 27 games that didn't have 3 starters, or that's yeah. So having people back and making some moves and having Ja Morant, yeah, that's 15 games, I would think.
Yeah.
But who knows what Ja Morant's going to do? You don't know. He doesn't even know. I mean, he's on strike 2, right? I don't know.
What? You think that's going to cost him money come contract time?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if I'm gonna pay somebody by that time, it's gonna be 60 or 70 million a year. That's what that's gonna be. Ricky, we're moving up on $100 million a year player soon, probably in the next 10 years, 100 million a year. So if I'm gonna invest 60 million, over 3 years, and I got a guy that might go. Yeah, Adams. Thank you, Steve.
Steve Adams.
Yeah. I got a guy that's talented as anybody in the league, but I don't know what he's going to do. I mean, is he going to go out somewhere some night and do something stupid like he's done already and then apologize and then did it again? So it's going to cost him money. How much? We don't know. It's going to depend on what happens this year. If he plays all the games, keeps on the straight and narrow, and plays like he can play, you guess what, Ricky? Memories are short. Yeah. NBA teams will forget all that stuff. Whatever happened, don't worry. You can make us the next. We can get us a championship, and they'll forget it, and they'll pay him. Depends on what happens this
year. Hey, Mo, I want to ask you about some possible trades because we're still not done. There's been a lot of player movement, but down in New Orleans, Brandon Ingram, his future does not look like it's going to be there. There was talk about Ingram for Jared Allen, the big center from Cleveland.
Who's hurt all the time.
Right. I mean,
yeah, but you could see when Ingram was playing last year, if you watched the games and things weren't going his way, he wasn't it didn't look like he was a good teammate on the bench or with this guy. He's got a little attitude there. He's a very, very good player, but at some point you might say, okay, we need to make a move. So.
And Laurie Marketing, a good player for the Jazz, Mo. And he's only 27. He's 6'10", can shoot the three.
Yeah, he's 7 foot tall. He's averaging 23 and 8. He's a nice young center that the Utah Jazz don't want to give away. But if you're talking about, say, to the Warriors who need a big, right? But you're going to have to, for someone like that, you're going to have to give up Kuminga and probably a couple other pieces in a draft pick to get someone like Harkinen, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of teams that would love a big like him.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a 7-footer. I'm looking at this roster right now.
7 foot, 240. But he's probably about 260, I bet. He's pretty big.
You're absolutely right, Mo. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I don't know, Utah, they just kind of got stuck out there, Mo, with that team.
Yeah, it's remember, I think 2 years ago, maybe? Can't remember now. It's good. That they were number one in the West.
Right.
They had the best record in the West 2 years, maybe 3, and then just kind of started treading water. Kind of like some team called the Atlanta Hawks, right? They did the same thing. They made a run and a nice run, and then, then they kind of went backwards,
Maybe they will go after him with age. He thinks the Warriors could use Ingram.
Yeah, I mean, but if I'm the Warriors, I don't know. They could, but I don't want. I need if you're the Warriors, you need a big body. You're not going to win the West. You're not going to win. You can't beat Minnesota without a big body. You can't beat Denver without a big body. You can't beat Dallas anymore without a big body. They have no big body. They have Luby who's like 6'8". If you could go get Harkinen, that's who you got to get, somebody like that.
Mo, Steve Kerr's a good buddy. You guys talk. Does he discuss that?
No.
Y'all don't go that. Yeah, y'all don't go there.
No, and I don't do that on purpose.
But he's smart enough to realize that without you telling him anyway. I
hope so, because he's the small lineup works really, really good for a while, but now it's you can't play 6'8", 6'9" at center and play against big bodies that are good like the Joker and guys like that. I mean, it just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. What Ingram and Zion seem unmotivated. I thought Zion played well for them last year, Mo. His problem has always been availability.
Yeah, and I mean, he is what he is. I don't think Zion is a competitive guy. I think he plays basketball because he's good at it and he can make a lot of money, in my opinion. I mean, if you're during the season last year and you come and play the Lakers here in Vegas for the in-season tournament, and everybody's pointing at you going, look how fat he is. That tells me something. That tells me you're not here to get in the best shape, help your team win. Now maybe he's learning that lesson, but and I've talked to some people that'll work with him, and his motivation, could be a problem.
And let me tell you, Mo, having lived in New Orleans, that's a bad town to have That's a,
Are you saying they got some good food there?
yeah, man. And Mo, and you got a pocket full of money too.
Yeah, more than one pocket. That's for sure.
You can just Uber all night. You can have Uber just coming by on rotation.
You don't, yeah, exactly. Or you can have someone drive your limo somewhere. It doesn't matter.
We're heading down the home stretch here. You're watching We Got Next. I'm Rickey Hampton with my great friend Paul Mokeski, former Bucks legend.
Let me ask you this, and Steve and some of you guys out there might know this. Steve and Ricky might, it's my memory's not great. Trying to think back when the Warriors made their runs, a while back. Didn't they have like a big-bodied center?
Yeah, from Australia. Yeah.
Yeah, Longley was
Luke Longley. Luke Longley was with them.
Yeah, who was a 7'1", big body, and I think they had someone else too like that.
They had JaVale McGee.
Yeah, so I think they got away from that, and I think it's caught up to them more if we're talking about.
Well, actually, it wasn't Luke Longley. He was with the
Bulls.
Longley
It was Australian player.
Yeah. But JaVale McGee played an important role with them.
He played for the Bucks. Bogut. Andrew Bogut. Yes. Yeah. So, and when you look at, Luke Longley played for the Bulls, right? When they won championships. Guess who else played for the Bulls when they won championships? Bill Cartwright, another 7'1" big body. I think that's Zaza. Yeah, he played there, but I'm thinking big body guys like those guys, and I'm surprised that the Warriors haven't gone after it. And he doesn't even think about that, right? Bogut, Luke Longley, Bill Cartwright was a little bit better than those guys, but they're solid, big, 7 foot, 280-pound guys that know how to play.
And Mo, they were all good passers too.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. They could play within the system.
They were all good passers. Hey, what is we see it with the Joker, but we see it with the Joker to an extreme level because he's almost like a point guard. But for most centers, what do you consider a quality passer and how he can impact an offense? Throwing Joker out because he has the ball all the time anyway.
Well, it's different. The Joker brings the ball down. And he makes plays from the top of the key, so you have a guy that can do that. You got a guy in a low post like Bill Cartwright or Luke Longley that played out of the triangle, so they're passing out of the triangle, right? And you got guys that you got to be able to pass from the elbows and hit guys going back door. And today's game, it's pick and roll. But you know what's happening more and more in today's game than even pick and roll is dribble handoffs. Bigs are doing dribble handoffs with people. That's two skills that bigs. You got to dribble and then you got to dribble handoff and pass it to someone coming full speed at you. So. Those are all skills that bigs have to have in today's game.
Filipowski, the big center from Duke.
Yeah, and when I looked at, that's a good point, but when I looked at his body at the draft, pretty darn skinny, man. I don't know about that.
How would this work for them? Brook Lopez to the Warriors.
That was rumored last year, I think, too. And the problem is with the Bucks would have the same problem, right? They wouldn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why if you Milwaukee, why you want to give him up?
Well, I think Brook Lopez is getting older. Portis is a power forward that plays center, but you can't beat Philadelphia even with playing Portis at center. So you need Brook Lopez to be able to bang with Embiid. Brook has become more of a three-point shooter, whether I agree with it or not. But, man, I remember when he was one of the best centers in the league, he was an all-star, I think, with New Jersey before he went to Milwaukee, and he was a low post guy, hook shots. He can score in the low post.
And he still can go down in there.
Yeah, but they just want that area. So, but
we did not talk about this all before the show started, when we did our pre-show planning. But is there a team to you that's on the spot going into this year, on the hot seat? Because I would think Milwaukee would be one of those teams. Because it's been, what, was it 4 years ago they won the title?
4 or 3 or 4. I can't see my hat back there. My championship hat. So they 2 years ago, they made a run, but then Giannis got hurt and they lost. Last year, Giannis got hurt again and they lost. So they're one of those decisions of, who was there last year? Before last year, Boston was. Okay, do we keep Smart? Do we keep who we have? Or do we trade Smart, who we love? And we get Porzingis, who we need a big, and then, I don't know how it happened, but they got Holiday, which made everything right. But they were making decisions of, okay, we've been here, we haven't got to the point where we got to start to make moves. Milwaukee is in that position now. Middleton is tradable. I don't think they'll trade Portis. Lopez is tradable. Guys like that. If they don't do something impressive this year, I think they're at that point in their organization where the Milwaukee Bucks are going to have to reorganize. Now, I'm not saying strip the whole cupboard and start all over like the Detroit Pistons
do every year.
Yeah, but Philly's in the same boat, right? But they made a move, but they were stagnant also. So teams get stagnant in the NBA. Who else is there? Denver. Denver won the championship 2 years ago, didn't make any moves, lost a couple good role players, and look what happened to them. Now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So you got 2 great players, but you need to find more than 2 great players to win a championship. They're in the same boat. Who else is in the same boat? The Clippers. The Clippers are one of the highest paid teams, the highest expensive teams in the league, and they haven't got out of the first round forever. And kind of mind-boggling to me that, Ty Lue is their coach, and he's won a championship with Cleveland with LeBron, but okay, you haven't been out of the first round in years, with decent players. So, there's a lot of teams along with the Bucks, like you said, Ricky, that are going to be in that decision time, like OKC, they've been in the decision time. Do we keep all our 800,000 first rounders, or do we go get some veteran players? They went and got some veteran players. Now they're starting to make a move, so there's different teams at different levels, but yeah, the Bucks, you hit it on the head. They're one of those teams that, depending on what happens this year, maybe even by trade deadline this year, those decisions will be being made by those teams that we just talked about.
Hey, Bo, we got 45 seconds. Any final thoughts?
No, I'm going to be interesting to see USA play Serbia. I think I just watched Serbia play France, and the Joker was just pounding Wembyama in the post and embarrassing him. So I think that's going to be a great matchup. I'm excited for Team USA and watching them go through this process and then into Paris, into the Olympics.
Final one from Steve there. Middleton and Lopez to Rockets for younger players.
Yeah, I don't know who. I'd have to look at the Rockets roster, and I'd want 2 or 3 very talented young players and a couple first rounders probably to do that. It's very unusual for a team to trade 2 of their starters, but not out of the possibility. But I don't see Houston, making those kind of moves either. I mean,
right, because they're not ready for that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make timing is everything in trades, and you know what? I think Lopez is making 30 or 40 million in mills, and so you got to find enough assets for 60 or 70 million a year from those young players and draft picks.
Hey, well, we got to get out here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. I'm Rickey Hampton for Big Mo. Peace. Thanks for watching.
Go for the gold, USA.
Peace, everybody.